One of Europe's great environmental problems today is the transport of nutrients from the mainland via rivers to the sea. This results in eutrophication of our lakes and seas. The catchment basins of the rivers Kävlingeån and Höjeå are situated in one of southern Sweden's most intensely cultivated areas. Here, 10 municipalities cooperate in order to limit the transport of nutrients to rivers and streams. With the support of the EU Life Environment Fund, these municipalities have constructed a large number of wetlands, ponds and buffer strips, which function as biological water treatment plants. With a decrease in nutrient transport in the watercourses comes an increase in the biological diversity of the area. The eutrophication of lakes and seas has resulted in problems such as algal blooms and oxygen deficiency. When the algae decompose, the consumption of oxygen is large enough to eliminate life at the bottom. The diver shown here is passing a broad layer of toxic algae known as red tide in the sound into which the rivers Höjeå and Kävlingeån run. Why has this happened? During the past 150 years, great changes have taken place in the agricultural landscape. Meandering rivers have been straightened and ponds have been drained. All this happened because of a demand for greater areas of cultivated land. Here we see a map of the catchment area of the river Kävlingeån before the great change took place. By the end of the 1950s, the scenery had been drastically altered. Thus, the water regime and naturally inherent self-cleaning properties of the landscape have deteriorated. This deterioration, together with an increase in agricultural intensity, discharges from industries and wastewater plants, and increasing traffic, have rendered watercourses and marine waters heavily burdened with large quantities of nutrients. With fewer wet biotopes also comes the disappearance of plants and animals belonging there. The stork is one of the most well-known species to have disappeared from the Swedish landscape because of these changes. According to international and national resolutions, nitrogen and phosphorus transport to the sea was to decrease by 50% between 1985 and 1995. During this period, there was a significant decrease in the discharge of nitrogen from wastewater plants, and several different nutrient-limiting approaches were tried within agriculture. It was now observed that the concentrations of phosphorus in rivers and streams had indeed decreased, but no decrease in nitrogen transport could be discerned. Further measures had to be taken. Follow-up studies within this project confirm that wetlands and ponds are an effective method for decreasing the load of nitrogen and phosphorus. In these environments, the water is relieved of some of its nutrient content. By holding the water in the pond or wetland, natural cleaning mechanisms are allowed to take effect. Particles containing phosphorus sink to the bottom, and water plants assimilate nitrogen and phosphorus. The foremost cleansing mechanism is a process called denitrification, in which certain strains of bacteria, resident in the sediment or on the surface of plants, convert water-soluble nitrogen into gaseous nitrogen. This nitrogen, harmless to the environment, then evaporates into the atmosphere. Through the simultaneous action of several processes in the pond, the water flowing out of the pond has a lower nutrient content than the inflowing water. Plants and aquatic animals are surprisingly quick to settle in the new wetlands. Their establishment takes place naturally, and several threatened plants and animals have been found in these new environments. These species, together with several other more common ones, indicate the importance of wetlands to biological diversity. Buffer strips are grass-covered strips of land situated in between the river or stream and the surrounding agricultural land. These strips prevent nutrients, primarily phosphorus, from being washed into the stream during rainfalls and floods. Buffer strips increase the distance between the field and the stream, which is also beneficial when fertilizers and pesticides are being distributed. Here the difference is clearly visible between a field with a buffer strip and a field without one, where the soil is ploughed all the way to the edge of the ditch. Thanks to support from the EU through the Life Environment Fund, by the end of 1999, around 80 new wetlands and ponds will have been created along the rivers and streams within the catchment areas of the rivers Höje Å and Kävlinge Ån. The recreation of these natural environments is a very important breakthrough in the work towards a better environment in the agricultural areas of southern Sweden. Now we can enter the 21st century hoping for a better environment in water and on land for humans, animals and plants.